This week on football, I tell you my top 5 most disrespected footballers. And it's the international break once again. Don't worry guys, it's over. We haven't got another one until March, I think, next year. So enjoy it while it lasts. The Premier League's back, and we can all go back to looking at our fantasy teams. Do you know what? I think one of the worst things about the international break is that we don't get to look at all the other teams, how the other teams do in the championship. I follow loads of leagues. I think a lot of other people do. And then you've got your fantasy leagues, and then you've got your bets on with your mates in the group chats. It's like, without that and just this international break where it's kind of hollow Nations League, I don't know. I like the Nations League, and I will say, actually, I think it's a great idea. And I think it's the closest thing we can do to eradicating that feeling that Friendlies does, where it just didn't get the hype. It does definitely mean something to a lot of the teams as well. One of the worst things I will say is watching teams that are clearly dominant in terms of their ability. You watch a Netherlands versus Bosnia, or a Germany versus Hungary, or whatever it might be. And there is this new thing, and it's developing more over the last probably decade, where these teams are so comfortable in possession. They've got such an advantage in terms of their individual players on the pitch technically, that they can score a goal and control the game, and it ends up being, it's like a training match, and it's really, really annoying to watch. And what I did enjoy, actually, just coming off the back of this, is a couple of those teams were punished for doing that and taking their foot off the gas. Lee Carsley did a great job, obviously, with England coming in for the brief amount of time that he did, but he had that mentality of, we get the lead and we just keep the ball. And the team that keeps the ball for the longest, he thinks, and a lot of other managers think, they win the game. Obviously, possession isn't everything, but controlling a game is a large majority of it. And if you get that first goal, it's really difficult. And especially for a team that's not going to come and press and not going to get on the front foot like a team might have done. Republic of Ireland was a great example. That goal went in, and then all of a sudden it was 2, 3, 4, 5. Because they went for it. A lot of teams will sit back in these international breaks and just kind of be like, okay, well, we'll see out a 2-0 loss to Germany or to Italy or whatever, because, you know, that's almost a good result. It's boring. It did my head in, and yeah, I'm glad it's over. Guys, thank you for joining me, by the way. It is going to be a bit of a tough schedule over the next couple of weeks. I'm going to be away next week, so I'm going to try and get something out to you. If I don't, I will see you in 2 weeks. Worst case scenario. And that is the longest break you've had from me in a long time. Guys, if you are here on YouTube, I would appreciate it if you go and subscribe. We're trying to get as many subscribers as we can. We're just below 2,000. 2,000 would mean the world to us. If you haven't liked the video as well, that always helps as well. We have got our TikTok page, which is me, Alex Goalposts, up there. Go follow me for all the best bits. We've got our Instagram page at Goalposts TV. That's got loads of the best bits from all the different podcasts on this network. And we are hopefully going to be releasing our Igloo and Hartley episode that me and Baker did up in Liverpool. So yeah, keep an eye out for that as well. Spotify listeners, Apple Podcast listeners, go ahead, 5-star rate it. 5-star rate it. Do it. It helps us. We have got Team of the Week this week. We've got a little bit of a preview for the upcoming Premier League action. I am going to be also doing the top 5 most disrespected players. There was something I wanted to say, and I had it. There was a player I saw this international break. It was like for someone's under 21s, and his name was, I didn't write it down. It was like Liam Octopus, or so. It was the most ridiculous name. It was like Gordon Kangaroo. I'm going to find it. Hold on. My phone. Hold on. Ryan Flamingo. There's a guy called Ryan Flamingo. There's a footballer genuinely called Ryan Flamingo. His last name's Flamingo, and he's a footballer. I knew I wanted to tell people that, and I haven't told anyone that. Why is that just the best? I'm going to follow that guy for the rest of his career. I'm going to have a shirt with him on the back. Why did I mention that? Oh, yes, I wanted to tell someone that, and I haven't told anyone. I've been keeping it to myself all day. Top 5 most disrespected footballers. Starting out at number 5, I have got Steven Gerrard. Steven Gerrard is one of the most disrespected players in the history of football for one reason, and it's because he played for Liverpool. Liverpool never won a title with Steven Gerrard in the team. He obviously had that infamous slip. That aside, he is the greatest Premier League midfielder I've ever seen. I've never seen anything like it. And this is, look, Scholes is unbelievable. Roy Keane, what a player. Steven Gerrard has everything. Frank Lampard's the only person that I think with the debate where you can say, look, maybe he had something on Gerrard in terms of goals. But as far as the others are concerned, Gerrard had everything. He had the pace, the power, the striking ability, the passing ability, the range. He could control a game. He could win your team a game by himself. And as he showed in the biggest moments, he turned up. And this is not me just saying, oh, Steven Gerrard's a great player because he plays for Liverpool. Look, I'm a Man United fan. It kills me to say it. But one of the greatest players that I've ever seen live is Steven Gerrard. And I never appreciated it until I saw him live. And I think a lot of Liverpool fans will tell you exactly that. Unless you saw him, it's really difficult to gauge how good that player is physically. And I remember going to a game and watching Gerrard play and seeing him just burst past players, bully players. And I'm thinking, this guy's a number 8. This was towards the end of his career, by the way, as well. And his technical ability, he never misplaced a pass. Every touch was immaculate. He made the right decision every single time. And when he needed to get on the ball and drive with it, he could. And he'd leave players in his dust. He could score goals. He could make goals. He could take set pieces. He was great from the penalty spot. He is probably the most all-round footballer that I've ever seen. And like I said, there's a few players where I think you need to go and see them live and see them in the flesh. Steven Gerrard, I'm glad I did because he's one of England's greatest ever midfielders, if not the greatest. Number 4, Gary Neville. Gary Neville is the best right back in Premier League history, and I will never hear anyone say anything different. Kyle Walker, great. Trent Alexander-Arnold could have a great career. Gary Neville won title after title after title. He was a mainstay in that Man United side, even till his older age, sort of 34, 30. To play that position, especially back then, in terms of sports science, to play that position up and down the wing well into your 30s successfully and win titles, that is something special. And I think he'll say it himself. Look, his standards never dropped from his own application, but maybe his performance, and obviously that's when he decided that, it was time to call it a day. But for those couple of decades in that Man United side where we were winning everything, Gary Neville was so crucial. That partnership with Beckham up and down there, I don't think I've seen a better partnership on that right-hand side in my life than Beckham and Neville. I think he was a great footballer, and that is something that's often missed. Brilliant with the ball. Could cross a ball, was always overlapping Beckham, getting balls into the box, but was a real student of the game, understood his position as a right back, and he showed that by having to move into centre back occasionally and covering really well. He's a great defender, and defending was an art to him, and I think that is something that is probably going out of the game a little bit with a lot of attacking fullbacks these days. Gary Neville was an absolute sensation. I think the biggest thing actually for Gary Neville is he's so self-deprecating, he's so humble that it's very easy to take the piss out of him and he becomes the butt of a joke and he's not going to say anything because he just takes it in his stride. Gary Neville was elite, absolutely elite, and the greatest right back in Premier League history. Number 3, Harry Kane. This off the back of the international break, watching Harry Kane, seeing all of the disrespectful comments to England's captain, England's greatest ever goal scorer, and a player that's played probably in the latter stages of competitions, maybe more than anyone else in England's history, surely. You think of finals, semi-finals, quarterfinals of the World Cup. Harry Kane has been there through it all with Southgate. And I think the country owes him a little bit of respect. I say a little bit, a lot of respect. I was seeing constant comments all this week saying Harry Kane dropping deep, he's finished. He scored like 70 goals in 80 games in the last 2 years. He is far from finished. In fact, he just hit his greatest ever goal scoring season last season. And people want to say, oh yeah, but he's playing in the German league. Well, then why weren't you saying that when Lewandowski was in there? Why weren't you saying that when arguably one of the greatest strikers of our generation, Lewandowski, was banging in goals every week? No one was saying anything about that. But because it's Kane, because he's English, because he played for Tottenham, it's all this, oh, Kane, yeah, he's finished, he's never won anything. He'll probably win something with Bayern this year. And what, now all of a sudden he is a good player? I don't understand it. The ball that he played to Bellingham that led to the penalty was absolutely outrageous. And that is just a slither of the talent that he has got. He is one of the greatest forward-lying players that can drop deep, play the ball like a midfielder and pick out passes. There's no one else I see doing that. You know, when I compare top strikers, your Benzema, Luis Suarez, Robert Lewandowski, they all scored the same amount of goals as Kane. Obviously, Suarez had some great seasons, but Kane can also drop deep and get involved in play and pick those passes. He's got an ability that I don't think any of those players can do. So Harry Kane, massive disrespect on his name. One of the greatest strikers that's ever played in the Premier League. Probably would have been the all-time record goal scorer in the Premier League if he had not left. He will come back to England, I have no doubt about that, and he will try and go for that Shearer record. Whether he does, I don't know, but I hope he does for him, because what a player, a humble guy, keeps himself to himself, gets so much hate, it's ridiculous, but he is a genuine world-class player, and England have got a world-class striker. And look at us, we take the piss out of him. It's pathetic. Number 2, Jude Bellingham. If Jude Bellingham is not world class, then I know nothing about football. Simple as that. And I'll write myself off. If you think that Jude Bellingham is not a good player, my blood boils. My blood instantly boils, because I don't understand how you can sit there, say it with your chest, Jude Bellingham, he's overrated, he's naff, he should be in the Championship, he's got through on good PR, all this bollocks about PR. The guy is a world-class player, and you see it when he comes into that England side. You know, the last couple of games, you've seen it. Obviously, a lot of people don't watch the Bundesliga and the La Liga, so they've not seen a whole lot of him. They just judge based off what they see on Twitter, and they see Twitter opinions say, oh, Bellingham's overrated. It catches a bit of fire. Few people like it. All of a sudden, your 14-year-old kids are on there. Oh, Bellingham's overrated. Bellingham is unbelievable. He might be the best midfielder in the world right now. And again, I think it's because he's English. If he wasn't English and he was an Italian or a Spanish midfielder, he would get the respect that he deserves and that I think he's earned. First season at Real Madrid, he scores 19 league goals, wins a Champions League and gets the assist for one of the winning goals in that Champions League final. It's unreal. He is a genuinely humble guy. I've watched his documentary, and if you haven't, I implore you to do so, because he is such a genuine guy. He takes care of his brother, takes care of his family. All he cares about is impressing his family and doing them proud. And people want to sit there on Twitter and say things about him, saying he's too confident, he's arrogant. Mate, this is what we need. English football needs arrogance. And the fact that we want to just knock every single English player down as soon as they get a little bit good, it's a joke. And it's why we haven't won anything. I'm fully convinced our media, our fans are, I would say, a large part of why England just have never won anything. It's the negativity, and it's that inability to accept that anyone's doing better than you. Jude Bellingham ticks every box in his life in terms of success, and people just can't handle it, and that's what it is. Number 1, the most disrespected player of all time is Cristiano Ronaldo, and I won't hear anything else. Cristiano Ronaldo is the greatest footballer of a generation. He's the greatest footballer of all time, in my opinion. I'm not saying that he's a better footballer than Messi. Messi is a better player, but Cristiano Ronaldo is great. When you think of the word great, you think of Cristiano Ronaldo. The goals he's scored, the positions he's played, the leagues he's played in, and done it time and time again. He is still out there doing it. And people who are saying he's gone to a rubbish league and, you know, he's just stat padding, he's just become the top goal scorer of the Nations League top division. So is he still stat padding? I don't know. He's still scoring goals. He's still absolutely elite. He could still do it in Europe. The reason he's out there, he's trying to grow that Saudi league. There was a big financial incentive, so understandable, why he would have gone out there. He's set his family up for life, his own brand up for life, and obviously he must have something a little bit deeper than just football out there. Either way, if he wanted to come back and play in the Premier League, he still could, 100%. Cristiano Ronaldo, the most disrespected footballer of all time. Right, international break. I touched on it a little bit there. It was good to watch England. I thought we were brilliant against Republic of Ireland. It was nice to see that midfield of Curtis Jones, Conor Gallagher and Jude Bellingham in the first game. I thought they were all outstanding. Conor Gallagher in particular. The second game against Ireland, really good. Again, Jude Bellingham showing his class. Conor Gallagher, good again. Got his goal. Really happy for him because he's had a tough time. He's always been disrespected. Conor Gallagher obviously goes to Atletico Madrid and all of a sudden, exoticism. People think that he's better because he plays abroad. So he's now getting the respect that he deserves. I thought, England really good. Lee Carsley done himself proud. Be interested to see what Tuchel does. Look, I'm not the biggest fan of a German manager coming and managing an England side. I just don't think it's right. But regardless, I hope he does well because, what am I going to do? Not support England? Absolutely not. Wales, great results. Scotland, phenomenal results. That is massive for Scotland. Huge couple of victories against Poland and Croatia. That's that is massive for them. Great to have John McGinn back as well. Watching him come on and score and then score in the second game as well. Yeah, fantastic. Wales, like I said, under Bellamy. Look, all right. You got to say they're winning the games that you previously would have expected them to win. Thinking of the players, look, they're players mostly Championship or Premier League. They've got that kind of pedigree, and a lot of the teams that they're coming up against, for example, now Iceland, I think they played Turkey, Montenegro. Turkey aside, I think those are the games that you expect them to win, and they are doing that. And you've got to give credit to Craig Bellamy because he's come in, he's had to change it completely around from Robert Page, and he's done really well. I'm not going to sit here and say that I'm pleased for Wales, but I don't think it's a bad thing that our home nations are doing well and are competitive on an international stage. I think it is a credit to the country, to the United Kingdom, that we can produce great players up and down the country. And, a lot of them have Welsh and English parents or, different nationalities, dual nationalities. So, I don't know. When it comes to it and we play them, hate them. But when you see them beating Iceland, well done. Shall I do my team of the week? Yeah, let's do my team of the week. In goal, Jordan Pickford. I think he's had a cracking couple of weeks. He's banging form and England's best goalkeeper, hands down. I don't need to say any more. At right back, Anthony Ralston. I didn't really see many right back performances that I was impressed with, but a couple of good wins this week for Scotland. Obviously, I think 2 clean sheets, is that? Did they keep a clean sheet? Definitely kept a clean sheet against Croatia. Didn't against Poland. But still, a win is a win. And I thought the back four was pretty good, considering one of the back four is Grant Hanley. Centre back, Tristan Kramer. Nobody's probably heard of Tristan Kramer. And I'll be honest with you, I'm gutted that I have. But he was really good. He was the Exeter centre half in the Exeter Lincoln game that I am so unfortunate to have watched. It was all right in terms of a couple of players, but it was also tragic. Yeah, devastated that I watched that. I think I got 4-0 that day. Alongside him, Ibrahima Konate. Konate, the French captain. I'm not really sure what is going on with Deschamps and Mbappe. Obviously, Mbappe is the normal French captain. He wasn't picked or selected for this squad despite being fully fit. Something's happened, and whether it's Mbappe refusing to play in smaller games or not important games for France, I don't know. But as far as I'd be concerned, that'd be it. If we had a player in England and they said, I'm not interested in playing against Ireland and or going away to play Switzerland or whatever in a Nations League or a friendly, you're not playing. That's it. Ben White, classic example. If you are refusing playing for your country, don't bother then. We don't want you. And Mbappe's, you're not too big for your country. I know Mbappe's absolute global and he's a superstar, but France showed, in that game against Italy, they don't need him. They've got some great players and they can still win games without him. He's a world-class player, so he should be in that side. But as far as I'm concerned, get him out. And Konate, French captain, put in a brilliant performance. And again, if I was Deschamps, I would be making Konate my captain going forward. Mbappe comes back in. You're not captain. That's not captain material to say that you don't want to play. Again, I don't know what happened, but it doesn't look great. Left back, Lewis Hall. Lewis Hall made his debut, got a decent half in the first game, and then started the second one. Thought he did really well. I think he's having a good little spell. The Newcastle move was great for him. I think it was great for Newcastle as well. He's never really going to get that opportunity at Chelsea, and you could see that there was a player in there, and you needed somewhere for him to nurture his talent, play some football at the highest level, and he's doing that at Newcastle this season. Starting a lot of games. I think he started 6 or 7 in the last games, and obviously now, into the England squad and performing really well. Thought he never looked out of place, and that is the big thing that you want to see. Talked about him before. Central midfield, Jude Bellingham. Thought he was phenomenal over this international break, and he's a world-class player. Simple as that. Alongside him, Adrien Rabiot scored 2 headers in that France game and was really good. This is a guy who was on the verge of moving to Man United, but he had a super toxic mother who just wants to control his life, and it ended up kind of falling through, and I'm kind of glad because that just sounded like a nightmare situation. Anyway, he's at Marseille, and Marseille seems to be like this, I don't know, it's like this youth group for troubled teens. It's got Mason Greenwood. Do you know what I think it is about Marseille? I think it's like they know that they want to go and win the league. They are almost chucking money at players. And I think they think that with Mbappe gone from PSG, there is a chance to go and win the title. That said, they brought in Mason Greenwood, Neil Maupay. It's just a really strange situation where they've got these players all over the place. They got Adrien Rabiot, who, again, just feels like a very toxic character. There's a lot of them on there, trust me. If you go and look at their team sheet, I can't think of off the top of my head. There's plenty of them. They're very strange. And I don't know whether De Zerbi's going to stay there at Marseille. But either way, Adrien Rabiot is a top-class midfielder. He could play in a lot of teams across Europe. But he's chosen to go to Marseille. Still in the France side and got 2 really important goals. So, I thought he was really good. Finishing that midfield off, Conor Gallagher. Thought he was brilliant. That first performance, the first game for Conor Gallagher, I thought he was really, really good against Greece. And, you talk about Greece and people will say, oh, it's only Greece. Greece are a really good side. And I don't think many teams have beaten them. I think only Germany have beaten them. And it's like a span of like 10 games. They've been really, really good. And they showed that at Wembley. Really, really good performance. But Conor Gallagher in midfield, thought he was brilliant. Absolutely top notch. And I think he definitely deserves to be in that England squad going forward, I think. Right wing, Noni Madueke. Obviously, the absence of Bukayo Saka. It's a hard position to fill with Saka not there, but I thought Madueke was probably one of our most, if not the most dangerous player in that England side. Unfortunately, he didn't get a goal. I think he got an assist off the corner, maybe. I don't know. But I thought he was really good. And I don't know whether he's going to make it at Chelsea. I don't know who's going to make it at Chelsea. But he started the season really well. I remember seeing him in the Eredivisie and seeing this guy starting putting up numbers. Like, I think he was like 18, 19, 20. And he's starting scoring goals. And, you always kind of go, oh, who's that? When you see an English player abroad and doing all right. I started seeing him come into the under-21s, watched quite a few under-21s games and thought, do you know what? I like him. He's positive. And a lot of the times you get a lot of wingers who like to pass backwards. Don't get me wrong. That is a coaching tactic that is deployed all over Europe. But Madueke does, on the odd occasion, which a lot of wingers don't, turns, faces his man and gets at them. And that is what you want. I love seeing it. And I cannot stand seeing wingers pass back. The amount of times I saw... Oh my God, there's loads of them. Anthony Gordon was a classic example. He's got all the pace in the world, all the ability in the world to take it past, and he's coming backward. The one that sticks out in my mind is the Pedro Neto one for Chelsea the other week, and he's just passing it backwards every time. Go and get at your man. Go and run at them. Rashford does it all the time. I don't know what it is. Amad Diallo's come into this Man United side, by the way, And there's a reason why he's come in and the fans love him. It's because he turns and faces his defender, gets him on the back foot. Madueke does it, and I love seeing it. Left wing, I've gone for Jack Moylan. There's a name probably a lot of you haven't heard of. He was the only player that was worth watching that Exeter Lincoln game, I'll be honest with you. Has quality. And in that division... Actually, do you know what? In League One, you'd expect a lot more quality. And I was really disappointed with the League One games that I've watched this week. But Jack Moylan, yeah, I thought he was really good. Striker, Harry Kane, talked about him. Just showed his levels this week and, comes into the side, scores an important goal, makes one of the most outrageous passes I've ever seen. He's a world-class player. Right, let's do my weekend treble. Weekend treble, guys. It came in. We are off the losing streak, and that has taken, I think, 5 weeks. And I've apologised time and time again, but the premise of the weekend treble is that you back it every week, and eventually at the end of the season, you will make profit. We're only 14 weeks into the season, not even halfway, and we're £86 up if you'd have backed it with a tenner. So we are making profit throughout the season. Last week, we won £34.47 off a tenner. This week, your £10 will get you £28.13. It's Barcelona to win against Celta Vigo. Coventry versus Sheffield United over 1.5 goals. Inter over 1.5 goals away at Verona. Really tough week to pick just off the back of an international break. You never know who is going to be in form, who's going to be tired. But those are the ones I've gone for. It's a little bit of a lower return this week. I just want to get one in there. I'm off the losing streak. I don't want to go straight back onto it. So yeah, £10 on, £28.13 back. Hopefully that comes in. I did want to do a little preview for the coming Premier League fixtures because I want to get excited about something rather than thinking about international breaks the whole time, which has just been Leicester-Chelsea. That's the opening game of this weekend coming up. I think Chelsea will go there and win. Leicester, not too bad. They're kind of that one of those teams, I think, this season. If they stay up, Steve Cooper's done a really good job. And if they get a result against Chelsea, I highly doubt it. I think Chelsea are really good. I think Chelsea could go and potentially challenge for, if not top 4, I'd say top 4. I don't think they're going to win the league. I've been toying with it, thinking, could Chelsea win the league this season? I don't think so. I don't think they've got a striker that scores the amount of goals that they need to or gets them out of sticky situations when they're drawing a game or they're in a tight game. But they have Cole Palmer, and I think he's enough to take them into the top 4. Arsenal against Forest. Arsenal need to win this. Simple as that. If they want this season to be anything close to what they've been dreaming of and thinking this is finally their chance, they need to beat Forest. Forest in great form. Their away form this season is outrageous. They've gone away to Anfield and picked up 3 points. If they can do this at the Emirates, then wow. But I think Arsenal win this. Not going to tell you a score, but I think Arsenal will just edge it. Villa Palace. Two strange teams. Villa, really good, but not in the greatest of form. Palace, I expected a lot more of. I think Villa will win that at Villa Park. They've had enough rest. The players come back, all seem pretty fit and ready to go. I think Palace stuttering. The fans kind of turning on the manager. Oliver Glasner was this absolute hero and genius, and then this season started and all of a sudden they've all turned on him. It's funny how much things change in a couple of months. But yeah, I think Villa will win that. Bournemouth against Brighton, that would be great. Two really interesting managers. Obviously, Brighton, new manager this season. Iraola's been there at Bournemouth for a while and got his team playing. Expecting goals, hopefully. Everton, Brentford, don't know. I really don't know. I don't know what to think of Everton this season. I cannot work them out. They'll be fine. They won't get relegated. Brentford, always good fun to watch. You hope for goals, but at Goodison, you wouldn't be surprised if it's 0-0. Fulham Wolves, that's a game that's not going to be 0-0. I can see goals in that, and it's a classic. Raul Jimenez scores against his former club. I'm seeing that, but I think Wolves will score. I think there'll be goals. I think it'll be end-to-end. The big game on Saturday is City Spurs. That is one I cannot call. If City lose 5 games in a row, I don't know, does the world end? Is this just like, this just never was going to happen? How could it happen? Pep Guardiola, Man City. Rodri gets injured and all of a sudden they fall apart. I don't know. I think Ange has got a great team. I think Ange has got a great philosophy. But I think against these teams like Man City with a bit of nous, with that big boy attitude, I don't know whether they're going to... I just feel like City will go and score 3 or 4 in this game and just say, okay, we're back. I think the rumours are that Romero and Van de Ven are going to be out for this game, which could be Ben Davies and Dragoshin at the back dealing with Haaland. Stranger things have happened, but I can imagine a Haaland brace and maybe 3 or 4-1 to City. Southampton, Liverpool on the Sunday. I think Liverpool are going to win that comfortably 2 or 3-0. Ipswich, Man United, first game for Ruben Amorim, and I have no idea what to expect. Ipswich are a good side and can score against anyone. They've shown that this season. Man United will be in a brand new system, a brand new manager, a brand new mentality. You know, Ruud did a brilliant job for the short amount of time that he was there. I don't know. I'm looking forward to it. I think it'll be good fun, this game. I think there will be goals. I think Ipswich will score against Man United. But I think United should go and get that first win for Amorim. I think the players will be buzzing. I think they'll be excited for the new manager. There is always a bounce when a new manager comes in. And I think there was such a negativity surrounding the Ten Hag era. There was that feeling that every game was almost like they didn't want to play. They didn't want to turn up and make a mistake. And it had those parallels to the England performances, all the players, but just nobody wanted to be there. I think the new manager hopefully sorts that out. I hope that the culture changes, and there is a massive need for this because under Ten Hag, it was getting worse and worse and worse. And we've seen it before, and it's the same players, and I don't know who they are, but if you were to look at it, it's Bruno Fernandes, Marcus Rashford, it's Harry Maguire. Luke Shaw, I don't think they're bad people. I just don't know how it's always them. I actually think it's a coincidence. I think Rashford aside, maybe Rashford's attitude can be questioned sometimes. You cannot question Bruno Fernandes. Bruno Fernandes is the ultimate captain. He is a brilliant player, stands up to be counted, takes responsibility, and a lot of people cannot wait to get on his back, but he accepts that. He takes all the pressure off the rest of the team, or tries to. I think he's finding form as well, and I think he'll turn his season around under Amorim. Obviously, I think they've got a bit of a relationship being Portuguese. Don't know, be interesting. I think there'll be goals, and I hope United win. Could see a 4-3 or something crazy like that. Newcastle versus West Ham on the Monday Night Football. That is a corker. Looking forward to that. West Ham need to sort themselves out. Lopetegui needs to sort himself out. Newcastle, form is good, looking good, playing well. Isak's playing well, got back and firing, and Gordon's getting down, and he's getting really... I feel like they're buzzing. There's a lot of energy about this team. Felt like Anthony Gordon had lost his way a little bit at the start of the season. Isak obviously injured. And the Newcastle fans, it just felt like they were very, very negative. And you've got to expect this. You know, Newcastle can't just have billionaire owners and all of a sudden become Man City. I think that ship has sailed where you can just buy your way to Premier League success. It's got to be considered. It's going to take time. You're going to have highs and lows. Newcastle... You know, you've had highs mainly. Maybe this is a little bit of a low and a little bit of a dip, but they look good. I think Newcastle will go and beat West Ham comfortably. But hopefully it's a game full of goals at St. James's Park. Right, guys, I am potentially going to be back next week, next Wednesday and every Wednesday until the end of the season, except for if I'm not, because I may well be away. My friend's getting married, so I'm going to be away for the week. And then the following week, I'm hoping that we can get an episode out, and This Is United with Vince as well. So really hectic schedule. Never normally miss an episode, but it may be that this week you don't get one from me. I'll do my best. Turn on that notification button to see if I do. Any questions, any comments, anyone who's got any input into the episodes, please comment below in the comments on YouTube, or you can actually do that on Spotify these days and ask any questions as well. Guys, thank you for joining me once again. I'll see you next week, maybe.